Hi, welcome to another video from the Malton Motor Company. Today's video is all about how we store cars off-site over winter. So this information might assist and help you in terms of how you store your classic cars or your Jaguar or Daimler or anything that you've got off the road, like motorbikes and quad bikes and things like that throughout the winter. So hopefully this video will help. Like I say, this isn't a definitive way of storing cars or vehicles over winter. It's just our way of doing it. Of course, we're about 5 miles. This is at my home address, and we're about 5 or 6 miles away from the garage where the showroom and restoration workshop is. And sometimes the showroom is absolutely full to bursting, and the workshop the same, with customers' cars and also our own cars that we're trying to renovate for sale. So sometimes we're in the dilemma of what we're going to do with this car. We can't leave fantastic low mileage Jags outside and Daimlers because it's just sacrilege, really, especially in all the bad weather, because this year we are having quite, as you can see from my breath, it's freezing outside. We are having quite a cold, frosty winter, and I think there's snow, loads of snow apparently, on the way. So without further ado, let's just show you around. I'm going to go through a few things that we've implemented here just to keep a car that we store here through the winter nice and fresh, mold free, damp free. Anyway, we'll show you around. We're going to firstly have a look at the heating system that we installed in this garage. The garage itself is about 6.5 meters long by 4.5 meters wide, so it's plenty wide enough and long enough for a Jaguar, Saloon, XJS, XK8, whatever really. So we'll show you the diesel heater system that we've got there, that we've recently installed, and how we keep maintaining it and we keep it fueled. And then we'll go inside then and we'll show you basically what we've done in there to keep it nice and dry and damp free. Right, catch you in a second. Right, here's our garage. It's a timber garage, all treated, all creosoted, with a nice proper ridge, a nice proper corrugated roof on it. It's a very, very solid garage, but we'll go through that a little bit more when we go inside. So you have to excuse the noise because the heater is on full blast at the moment. We've just put it on full blast because we're going to go in there in a second, but normally we keep it on 3 bars, just ticking over all the time. Right, this is the cabinet. Now then, there was no instructions that came with the heater in terms of how you set it up in your own environment. There was no instructions, there was no diagrams. This basically is tailored to meet my sort of needs here at home in this storage garage, where we can store stock cars that are either investments, stock cars that maybe are out of season and won't sell till spring, or because it's just basically used as like an overflow unit, really, because we're so busy and we're so full at the garage. So this basically, just to go through really, really quickly without boring you too much, this actually is just a plastic welly boot box for outside in your garden. I bought that. I had to do a lot of tailoring to make it fit the needs of here. I cut a piece out there to put a vent in for cooling and for air intake. It's actually got a really, really nice metal plate on the whole of the bottom of it, which is all bolted through properly. It's about a 3mm steel plate. And at this side you've got an exhaust and a piece of corrugated sort of heat resistant plate. Now that exhaust system there is not directly going through the plastic. It's actually like you'd have on a boat or a small fishing vessel. It actually goes, the pipe itself goes through a system where it actually has air around it, so it's actually like sort of a cooling effect. You know, the pipe itself, the exhaust, doesn't even go anywhere near the plastic. Just in case any of you are wondering about that. We put some like rally boot or bonnet clamps on just to keep the weather out so it doesn't blow around. This side we've got the actual air intake for the engine itself, or the burner you would probably call it, because it hasn't got a piston in it. It's just like a, you know, a bit more like a jet engine really. You've got your air intakes at this side because it draws air from there, and they're all open fully on the vents there. We also put a power out isolator switch to it. Now the power itself comes through the wall from inside the garage, and there are a network of electric sockets and isolator switches in there, which we'll look at in a second. But that's so if there's any problems and I notice it from the outside or whatever, then I can just turn that and it cuts all the power off. Now the burner itself runs on 12 volts. So inside the garage, in a weatherproof box, there is a converter there from 240 to 12 volts. So that's a 12 volt isolator key switch like you'd have on any sort of classic car or anything like that. Just to go through the other bits and pieces, we've got twin. This is so it's relatively low maintenance because obviously we don't want to be backwards and forwards filling it up every 5 minutes with diesel. It's messy, it stinks, and it's not something I really want to do it all the time really. I just want to be able to fill them up and just leave it really. Most of the time the burner's on 3 bars, and that just ticks over, and it actually uses about 0.14 litres an hour. So it's not high for the heat you get out of it. It's not a high consumption rate really. So these are proper plastic fuel 8-litre tanks. Now it shows you on here, I'm not sure if you can see, but you can see quite well on the camera there actually. It's used 2 bars of that, and it's got all these to go, and the same on there as well. And the reason why it's the same is because there's a joint in the pipe. Both taps are turned on, isolator taps we put on there. Both isolator taps are turned on, and they just run evenly down because they're going through the same pipe there, which is the intake, fuel intake, which actually is that piece of plastic conduit there is just to protect it really, because it's just a bit lower down, and the pipe just goes into there, just a single feed pipe, but there's 2 into 1, and that's so we can store more fuel, and we don't have to keep messing around with it all the time. So we've got 16 litres there, which lasts quite a while. This contraption here, which I'm sure you'll be wondering about, is there's a big 35 litre fuel tank there, which is very, very easy to carry. It's got handles all around it, and that there goes into the back of our works van, and is very, very easy just to fill up from the pump, and then what we do is we back the van up and we just load it and put it down the side of there out of the way. That plastic pipe there, which is actually just shoved around the back of there at the moment, goes into that filler cap there. It just feeds nicely in there. We connect a battery to that and switch her on, and then it's just like a normal petrol pump now, and we can just fill them up, you know, without any mess or any splash or anything really, because obviously until you press the trigger, the pump's priming the fuel round, but it doesn't just start spurting out everywhere until you press the trigger, you see. So you can make sure you get it in the tanks, and then there's no mess. Now the only adaptation that we are going to do with that, we have been using like a battery jump pack just to connect to, just to operate the pump, because we're not doing it every day, because like I say, these tanks are, you know, they last quite a long time before they need replenishing again. What we're going to do is, we've ordered it already. It's a proper plastic battery box, which is all covered. We're going to use brackets like that underneath that box, put it to the wall, and then those connectors will go in it, and then we've got a leisure battery there which we can just charge up. I mean, that thing doesn't use much power because obviously it's only knocking out 16 litres at a time to fill these up, so it's not on for very long. because that shoves some serious diesel out, if you want it to, per minute. I can't remember exactly the stats on that, but it shoves a serious amount of diesel through, and you can leave that thing there running. I mean, this is far too much really for this setup, but it was the only one I could find. But that thing there, that can run for half an hour continuously before it needs switching off, so you can shift some diesel with that. So we can have a battery box on there shortly with a leisure battery in it on brackets against the wall, so it can be plugged in, you know, easy. Just lift the lid up of the battery box, clip those connectors onto the top of the battery, and here we go. So that's all that there. So what we'll do is just have a quick look inside this box. There you go, look, there's the burner, you see there's the exhaust. We had to make some stilts for it, unfortunately, because it wasn't quite high enough. And they're just the connectors on there, and the fuel line goes in. This is your control unit. It has got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. We usually leave it ticking over on the 3rd bar of the green, but at the minute it's on full tilt, just to get the place nice and warm in there, because we're going to be going in there to have a chat. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bars. So we usually have it on 3. So but yeah, this will run all day, all night, all week. We've been using this continually through this season, and it's been brilliant. The actual diesel burner was one of the dearer ones. It was about 140 odd quid, I think it was, 45 quid. The box was 40 quid, all the bits and pieces. All the bits, you know, to sort of make it our own, how we wanted it, were probably another 50 quid, maybe 60 quid. The tanks saw 20 quid a piece. Your pump system there was quite expensive. That was about 50 quid for the pump, the nozzle and everything. But I suppose it's not too bad really. All the bits of pipe and that aren't a lot, and the isolator taps. That tank there, 30-litre tank, that was quite expensive. That was about 35-litre tank, sorry. That was about 70 quid. But it's plastic. When you've got it, haven't you? You don't need to buy another one. So that's the setup out there. What's the temperature now outside? We've got a thermometer there, look. It is 2 degrees. That's all it is. 2 degrees outside at the moment. Right, let's go inside. Right, here we go, nice and warm. Now, this video is about how to keep a car nice and dry and free from damp. But it's also about security, really, because your pride and joy, your classic car, your motorbike, your collector's vehicle, you want it to be secure. So we have various locks on the door at the front. This building is camera to death. Our courtyard out here has got about 5 or 6 or 7 cameras, maybe, pointing all over. And it's a dead end as well, so you can't get through here. Once you've come down to the house, you can't go anywhere else. So, just to show you in here, this is our cabinet here, with our cleaning chemicals and bits and pieces in there and cloths. Those 2 boxes up there are about to be installed when we've had a chance to go and get some rat poison. So we haven't got problems with vermin in here, touch wood. But what we've got is those 2 boxes to load up with sort of rat poison. And then one will go down the front here and one will just sit at the back. And they're fairly self-explanatory. So let's have a quick walk round. Normally, we keep the bonnet up. We just put the bonnet down to, so it looked a bit better really for the photographs. But normally, the bonnet is left up. And the reason for that is we want to try and give any sort of mice or voles or anything, any vermin, we don't want to give them an easy sort of ride really. We're in and out of here every couple of days. The bonnet's up. The machinery's going, the heater's going, the dehumidifier's going. We start whatever vehicle we've got in here. This happens to be this XJS, but what happens when we sort of start them every couple of weeks, we pip the horn, and, you know, drive it in and out, make sure everything's okay, start it up, run it up to temperature. It's the best you can do, I'm afraid, in winter time, because you don't want them on the salty roads, you don't want them in all the weather. So we've got a isolator switches everywhere for different parts of the garage. We've got a smoke alarm there, and we've also got a carbon monoxide sensor there. For summertime, we've got a fly killer there, which we can plug in. Big thermometer across there, so we can see what temperature it is. It looks like it's approaching, bearing in mind, no, actually, we've only had the heating on for about 6 or 7 minutes, maybe something like that, on full. But we need this garage operating temperature to be between 5 and 10. If it's not between 5 and 10, we run into problems with the dehumidifier. It is an outdoor dehumidifier it's supposed to be for a garage or a shed. But obviously, they do freeze up, and the auto defrost function on them doesn't work efficiently and properly if the temperature is below, certainly below 5. Really, realistically, it wants between 8 and 10. And that's what it works really efficiently, gets the moisture out of the place. Now, across there, as you can see, next to the dehumidifier, is a C-Tech battery charger. So the Jaguar in here now, or any car that comes in here, will be put on a fixed C-Tech battery trickle charger conditioner, and that's obviously into the boot of this car, as you can see. We've got a nice array of lights in here, so we can see what we're doing as well if we have to clean a car when it comes in. Now, as you can see, the actual corrugated roof has got like a felt covering to it. Now, again, that's to help and aid with like little drips of water from condensation, which it does. We don't get any drips on the car. As you can see, if you can see at the top of that door, you can see daylight. There is a that's done purposely, really, so we can get a bit of airflow into the place. We don't want it just to be stagnant. We haven't got any other vents anywhere, and it is really, really well sealed, but that gap at the bottom of the door I ain't got a problem with, because it just allows fresh air to come in, and for air to move around, so we ain't got a problem with that. We've got a few lots of double sockets, if you've noticed. Even though we're inside and the place itself is leak free, we've made sure everything was sort of waterproof, really. We've got waterproof sockets because they're against the wall. Now, this is my ventilation heater system. I wanted a pipe, an outlet there for heat to blow across underneath at the back of the car, and also it goes across to the dehumidifier so the warm air sort of goes across there. We've got another vent there which blows again at the back of the car or at the side of the car, and then we've got another one there. And it's about the air that's coming through. You can't even put your hand near it. The air that's coming through there when it's on full blast, it's about 140 degrees if it's on full blast. So, you know, we give it a full blast every now and again. I think it's wise to do, so it sort of clears itself and decokes itself, hopefully. But generally speaking, we wouldn't just leave it on full tilt all the time. I don't think that's particularly wise. But when we're in here and we're knocking around, that's fine, because obviously we keep an eye on it. But generally speaking, we've gone week after week, night after night, month after month, with it just being on three bars through the day, through the night when it's cold. Obviously, if the outside temperature is above sort of 8 or 10, then we'll switch that off and we'll just keep the dehumidifier going. So we're not going to run it unless we really have to do, but at the moment we are experiencing a lot of cold weather in the UK, so we thought it would be wise to just keep it ticking over. And the car's lovely and dry, and the whole building is lovely and dry. This in here is just, again, a waterproof box. That's your converter in there, so it goes from 240 to 12 volt. and then that obviously goes outside into the burner. So nothing is actually going into the outside elements. It goes straight through the wall, straight into the box. That heater there, that convector heater, is there for an emergency. If the heating system broke, the diesel heating system, and it was exceptionally cold, just to stop things freezing in here and loads of condensation happening, we would have to put that on. But of course, that would be a lot more expensive to run. I think it's a 2 or 3 kilowatt convector heater. So, I think we've gone through a lot in here. We've got a big thermometer, like I say, across there, so we can keep an eye on everything. We'll just walk round the other side of the car. You might wonder what all these other lights are doing at the back of the garage and across there as well. Well, they're like an emergency solar lights. So say for instance the power goes down, at the house or in the garage or whatever, for some reason we can't get to the bottom of it, they come on and we can still see what we're doing in here. So we've got a few little bits of backups and things like that. Now then, this is just basically placed on a really, really solid platform. We've got a pipe there that's insulated with foam, goes straight outside the garage, and that there goes down another insulated tube, and it basically, the water and the moisture just goes straight outside. So as you can see, we'll see what part of the cycle it's on. Looks like it's just on auto defrost now, so in a few seconds that'll come totally clear. That those veins at the back will be totally clear. So it's obviously on a cycle. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's on a cycle of defrost at the moment. So that's fine. So the humidity in here at the minute is 53. That's not too bad at all, really. It's not. It's good. Now, for those guys who've noticed that we've got a gravel floor, that was done on purpose because this building is classed as a temporary building, you see. And it is actually a removable building, which I'll mention in a second in a bit more detail. The reason why we didn't put a concrete floor in, like I say, because then it looks like it appears it's more of a structure than it is. This is what we wanted, and it was also a lot cheaper to put gravel down. Underneath the gravel, however, is a real good, probably 6 inches of limestone chippings, and then on top of that there was a really, really thick visqueen sheet put down. And then on the visqueen sheet, there's probably about 3 inch of 20 mil gravel. So it's really dry. We don't get any problems. So there we go. You see, XJS is kept very, very cosy. It's living a life of total luxury in here. The other thing that we do as well when cars are sat and stood for this sort of length of time throughout the whole winter season is we make sure that we put, obviously it's important that you put E5 petrol or super unleaded, which is in the UK, in these sort of type of cars, but also we put we particularly use a Lucas fuel conditioner, which stops the fuel sort of gumming up and stuff like that. So this has had plenty of that in it, and it's also been run through the whole system as well when we've had it running and idling outside. It's not ideal just having them sat outside, just idling up to temperature every few weeks, but it's the only thing you can do. Otherwise, you're taking them on the road and you're risking them to get salt and dirt, and it takes you a long time to get a car in this condition again in terms of cleanliness. So there's our heater system. Like I say, I'll just open the car because I just want to show you what we do inside of it. We sort of belt and braces a bit, really, because we've been doing this job a long time and we do it properly. So this is the car inside. As you can see, absolutely gorgeous. Batteries up on the button, you see, because we keep it on trickle charge. Smells nice inside, smells like brand new. And we have these for the damp as well, and there's another one there in the back. So we've got 2 of those inside the car, and I can honestly say it's not even cold to touch, isn't the leather? It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's keeping its condition really well. Because it's not just the mildew and mould that occurs in cars if they're in a damp garage. it's sort of, the wood goes a bit, gets damp, and then the veneer starts lifting and cracking, and you know, and this car is absolutely split mint, and I just don't want anything to happen to it. If it was in our showroom at work, I wouldn't have a worry in the world, because that is an insulated place, and it's got heating in it as well. But you know, unfortunately, it was either this car or another car. We can't keep everything, unfortunately, inside at the showroom. Not at the minute anyway, especially because we're just so full with vehicles. So, just to round it up, this garage had 6 really deep concrete foundations put down. And then the guy who erected it, who built it, he actually put threaded bars up out of the concrete foundations, and then he put these really well engineered plates on the bottom of each supporting post, and then they bolt down onto the threaded bars, and then obviously with nuts on. So, cut a long story short, the whole garage is designed, or has been designed, to dismantle, take to another location in the future, and erect there again. So, there you go. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've seen a few things that might be able to maybe assist yourself. We're just going to go outside again, because I'm just going to show you this. I'm just going to show you the drain for the dehumidifier and what we've done there. So there you go, you see. So that's exactly where the drain for the dehumidifier goes, and you can see the ground's damp because, you know, on its cycle it will get rid of the water, and we've never had any problems with that, even in the frost and the snow that we've had recently. As you can see, the water off the roof drains straight into a water trough, so therefore it doubles up for our animals that we've got there on the field. It's feeding time now. One of my boys is out feeding. So yeah, the biggest job on it was actually creosoting it, because it was just a nightmare. Because there's all those little panels there, it was just a nightmare to try and, you know, get in between those planks really, and make sure it got a good covering. So there you go, folks. This is our overflow storage department. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for watching, and there'll be another video coming along really soon. Bye for now.